Well, hello, my name is Max. I am the captain of the German AOS team for AOS Worlds. I play Warhammer now since 2019, meaning Age of Sigmar. Played Warhammer before. I mean, it's the same story with everyone. You start playing as a kid, and then girls are more interesting, and you go to university, you go off, and then when you're 30, you're like, oh, I have money, I have dispensable income. What can I do? Oh, this looks fun. Let's do this again. Paint models, strip them down, and go down that rabbit hole all again. I live in Munich, in the south of Germany, southeast. So probably no. I was born here, but actually I moved to Italy when I was 4 years old, and I grew up in Italy, which means the last AOS Worlds in Milan was more or less a home game for me, because my parents still live close to Milan, and so that was nice to do, a nice trip. And I came back to Munich in 2008 for university studies, and I stayed since. Dwarfs. I'm also known as Dwarden Max on some of the social media. I actually co-host a podcast and YouTube show all about Caradon Overlords, Ethercast, with the great Lee Edwards, who does everything, and I just show up and talk smack. And he does all the fancy presentations and everything. So yeah, it's dwarves, all kind of dwarves. Dispossessed. I started out with dispossessed, played them, collected them, and then someone told me they don't actually have rules. They had a one page in the General's Handbook, 2018. Then Cities of Sigma now. I moved to Fireslayers when their new book came out, 2019. So yeah, I want dwarves, but I want to win. So Hearthguard Berserkers it was. And then with the cities tome, it's what they do. It's an entry drug. Oh, there's this city here you can play Cardon. Okay, I'll buy a gun hauler. I'll buy a few Arcanauts for my Tempest Eye. Oh, here's a new book, and it's good. Okay, here's a new army. So that's all my dwarf armies. I'm unsure if they do chaos dwarfs, if I'll buy into them. Depends if I like them, because I'm not a chaos person, to be honest, and they are not dwarfs. I know you like them. They don't exist anymore. They're a myth. But maybe if there's new Grogny stuff. But yeah, it's dwarfs. I love dwarfs. I hate elves. Although for the greater good of competing at AOS Worlds, sometimes I use elves in city lists. Okay, so maybe let me start of how I got to be captain, which is maybe different to other nations. Actually, about a year ago, I asked, well, is there an ETC team? Because at the time it was still ETC, was supposed to happen in Luxembourg. So, well, is there an ETC team? How do I apply? Does this exist? And there was just one guy from a club, a big club here in Germany, Mini Paradise, from Kassel in the middle of Germany, which I believe you know, because they're setting up a big tournament soon. And they said, well, yeah, we have this group. If you want, I can add you to the WhatsApp chat, and maybe if the spot opens, you can help out. And I was like, okay, sure. And then ETC, well, they did their thing, and AOS Worlds emerged. And I said, well, we have to decide, do we want to go? And the captain at the time, Manuel, he said, well, I don't have the time to deal with the whole Discord and teams and captains and everything. I said, well, you know what, if you want, I can do it. And then before the tournament, we can sort out who actually is the captain. I can just do the organizing thing. Well, and that's how I became captain. I'm just the person who, when everyone asked, well, who wants to do it, he didn't take a step back. So I was stood front line, like, okay, I guess I'm doing it. And I've enjoyed it so far. So by no means I'm not the best player in the nation. I'm not the best player on the team even. I just like to talk Warhammer a lot. It's a lot of my free time, and I guess I'm not doing a bad job at organizing the whole stuff surrounding the team. It's like herding a little kindergarten, you know. Other captains will tell you the same. It's like, okay, please tell me your jersey size. How many dice do you want? What's your list? Is the list final? I need to send it in. Please tell me. And you need to harass them every day because they just want to play. They just want to play. That's all they want to do. They don't want to think about the whole organizing thing. So that was us. That was a team we had to form within a couple of weeks before deadline to hand in and to pay up for tickets. And so we were fresh to the whole thing. We never had a team event. None of us played in a team event before. And this brings me also to the goal for this year, is that we want to do better than last year. Our goal last year was not be last and win at least one match or one round. We came second to last and we won 2 rounds, so mission achieved. And we one of our players won best painted in both the singles and the team event, so I'm going to count that as a team achievement. Best painted. So we want to defend that title, obviously. But we had a lot of fun and we learned a lot. It was just six of us in the end. So no coach, no one to help with pairings. When there was a question on another table, I had to interrupt my game as a captain and walk over, and that was a bit annoying to me, unfair to my opponent, obviously, to interrupt the game and walk off. And we noticed that we need more preparation beforehand. What we did, we prepared the first round. We knew that ahead of time. We looked at the list and we won that round against Spain. And then we always had bad pairings when we only had the lunch break to prepare. Basically, you had 1 hour, and we cut out little sheets of paper on the middle of the table, and we started doing some pairings. Oh, we could do this and this, and then the pairing wasn't as good as when the night before we had 2 hours to sit down and do the pairings for the next morning. So that's something we took, and we want to improve on that. So we also have a non-playing coach now on the team. We have an assistant on the team to help with that, to be better prepared before the event. So to know the list, to know matchups, to know what armies to put on what battle plans and so on. Because most rounds we lost them, but we didn't lose them, by a lot. There was some clutch games, so we think we can compete at that level. And with a little bit of more preparation and more professionalism, I think we can achieve a better result this year. Last year I won 1 match, so the goal will be to win at least 2. No, I'd like to win half of my rounds, but for us as a team, it doesn't matter if you lose or if you win as a player. No one's going to be mad at you if you lost a game. It's just to have fun and not have this feeling, if I did make this mistake or if I've done something different, we would have had a better result. But you lose because the opponent was a better player, or maybe there's some dice luck. You can always blame dice, but I know that's unfair to your opponent in the end. So yeah, as a player, I'd like to improve, I guess. But I'm not the star player of the team. So yeah, our team now consists of 10 people, although we have a wider team. So there's a reserve player who is part of the team, and he takes part in all the trainings and conversations, and he's just there as a backup if someone falls ill or has a problem or can't go, because that always happens with these big events. Well, where to start? Maybe the most known player, probably at least here in Germany, would be players, because there are 2 brothers, the Koch brothers from Mini Paradise in Kassel. So there's Patrick Koch, who is a very tall guy. He's taller than me. He's bald, and he exclusively plays Eidenef-Deepkin. And I believe he's the master of Eidenef-Deepkin, an army that I hate, playing Cardon, shooting dwarves, anti-shooting elves, obviously. And he's doing very well. He's still doing very well, also in 3rd edition with them. He's been a long time top rank player in Germany. And last year, by one of the French players, he was accused of playing a fun Eidenef list. Apparently, he didn't have enough sharks in it. But and this was 2nd edition Eidenef, so with the still stacking of all the attacks and with alternatives. So that's Patrick. I believe he might be the oldest on the team. He's the older of the 2 brothers. Then there's Manuel Koch, who, if you are in German or you follow German YouTube shows, the Mini Paradise, they have their own channel. He's doing book reviews, battle reports, and stuff like that, and he helps out with organizing their bigger tournaments in Germany. Manuel is a great player. He's a great resource for the team because he has every army painted. So if you come up, maybe we'll take a new Beast of Chaos since their new rules are good or seem to be good. He probably has a 4,000 point army in the basement somewhere. So that's always handy to have. And he is a very good player in their club, and in the area they play, they compete almost maybe every weekend at the tournament. So also one of the top performers from last year. Then another known person here in Germany is Andreas Hölter, who for a long time has been #1 player, Filth Zinch player, change host, shooting, teleporting, all that stuff. He's recently switched to full dragons, so that's all you need to know about him and his playstyle. But it's the strong stuff, and namely, he was, I think, the best Zinch player last year because in between the singles event and the team event, he played 6 or 7 mirror matches and he won them all. So even if you play, I always looked over. So what's happening in that table? It was just Conga lines of pinks against Conga lines of pinks, and nothing moved. Nothing happened all game. And you watch an hour later, what's happening? Nothing moved. Still turn 1, I guess. So he's great. He got a lot of points for us last year. Then let's say the brains of the whole operation would be, in my personal opinion, Tobias Schwarz, who plays a lot of online TTS as Black Toby. So maybe some of the viewers have played him, heard of him. He's also in some chat groups and game groups with some of the English folk. And so he always knows the newest, hottest secrets of lists and Legion of the First Prince stuff. He played Archeon in Zinch before anyone else did, like 2 years ago, using Destiny dice for those shenanigans. So he's a very good player, and he does know a lot of the meta, know a lot of lists, so he helps out a lot with pairings. So great asset to the team here, and he's the person who paints the best, so he's bringing in those trophies for us. Who else we have? We have our legend, Marius Langbeen, also from the Mini Paradise. As I go through these people, you notice a lot of them are from the Mini Paradise group, because I believe they are one of the more competitive player clubs in Germany. So obviously there's a bigger pool of players there, and they are the ones who started everything out. And Marius, he's the legend of last year's event because he was the only destruction player in all of the team event. He played 4 Gargants before anyone else did in 3rd edition. Didn't work out that well in 2nd edition, but he's the trendsetter. He was the trendsetter, and he's the fun guy in the group. We have a lot of laughs with him, and he also does compete on a high level. He was, at least, I'm not sure at the moment, highly ranked. I think that completes all the players, including me, from last year. So that was the 6 of us. And since the rules changed, we needed 2 more players. And maybe this transitions also a bit into how do we acquire team players? How is the team formed? So we needed 2 more players. And one player who was already on the team last year is Henning Wolf. Involved, you might know him from the Twitch chat. Sometimes comments in there, and also a great painter. He sadly had to drop out, and we had Tobias as a reserve player to pitch in. And so he will hopefully make it this year and join us this year in Prague, as planned also last year in Milan. And then we basically have 1 active player spot to fill. And we chose Lucas Kaluza, who is also a well-known player in the rankings here in Germany, at least. Very competitive player, very competent player. We chose him above some other applicants just merely because of the armies he knows to play at a high level, so making army list choosing easier for us. And we also opted to get a non-playing coach, who is Wolfgang Bongartz, who was happily to support us, not happily not to play, but to help us out with pairings, with preparation beforehand, list analysis, matchups, battle plan, statistics, all that funky stuff they do in their Excel sheets. I have no idea what they're doing. They just tell me who to play, and I play. And they basically tell me what to play, and I try to play it. And we also have an assistant, also from Mini Paradise, who is Stefan Bega, who is a great guy. He's a real team supporter. He helps out everyone, be it with miniatures, with tips, with laughs, with food, with beer. He does what is that called? LARP, where you dress up. He's an orc in LARP, so he's probably easily recognized also at the event. That's him. So yeah, that's us. That's the 10 of us plus Colin. Colin Claren, also here from Munich, who is our reserve 11th player if someone would drop out. Also a young player, but very competent. So the previous team was basically formed of, here's a group of people who want to do this. Do you want to join? Yes. Okay. No one else bothered to do it. When the team was formed, some people asked, and they said, well, there can only be one team, and we put the effort in to do the whole organizing. Let's do it. I would like to have some sort of transparency, or for people understand why is this person on team and he's not. It's a bit difficult here in Germany because there is some sort of ranking on our software we use for tournaments, and tournament booking your tickets for tournaments basically. But it is very skewed because the way it ranks people is, I'm not even sure it's the best 5 results, and then it depends who you play. And so you could have a tournament each weekend with 10 of your mates and win all of them, and it would put you very, very high up. The other problem with our ranking, or the problem with the situation in Germany, is 95% of our tournaments are free games, one-day tournaments. Obviously, organizing a one-day event is much easier for clubs and to rent out places. I mean, we are at our club to do that, and it's easy to do. In Germany, you have a bit of a problem with venues because then you need insurance for the venue if you plan to do an event, which is costly. Then, as you know, event locations are expensive, and I'm not too sure. It takes a lot of effort to do it, and as far not many people want it. Obviously, also in Germany, 40k is king, and they do have a lot of 2-day events. AOS is emerging; it's getting bigger. I can tell from people on the amount of tournaments, but it's less. So, as you know, perfectly know, free game event, the winner isn't the best player or the best list. It can be luck with your drawings the first 2 rounds. So well, the excuse for this year was, we just need one more player. Okay, we'll do an application form and we'll send it out, like a Google application form. We'll send out to 5, 6, 7 people that we think are a good match, not just the ability to play well, to be a competitive player, but also we wanted people that would fit well into our existing group as a person, as a personality. Because last year we spent a week together in Milan, the 6 of us, and we had tons of fun, and the chemistry in the group was great, and that's one of our, I think, major selling points. Also, if you want that, there's a great team spirit, and we wanted to keep that. So that also narrowed down. People. You played against people and say, oh, maybe he's a good player, but maybe he doesn't fit into this kind of group. And then from there, we did a democratic vote. We said I wanted 10 people on the team, so 8 players and 2 reserves or coach. So everyone got 2 votes to fill those spots. Every team member, and the people with most votes got selected. Basically, got invited. And then we also had, as an extra, we had a non-playing coach, just because we thought it would be helpful to have it. Well, there was plans last year to establish a nationwide scoring system for tournaments, because that's another problem. Some tournaments, all tournaments score differently. There's no established, so we can compare tournament results maybe easier. We have a pointing system that's similar, and we had a lot of clubs involved in this, and people from Mini Paradise spearheaded this. But as far as I know, it never got anywhere. Maybe there was no consent on how to do it. I don't know. So that's another issue with the ranking. So I don't know. It's a tough question. I understand people say, well, why are you on the team? Why are you the captain? Who said that you will represent us as a nation? Sadly, the answer at the moment is because we were the only people who put the effort in to do it. So yeah, the scene in Germany is, as I previously said, mostly one-day tournaments. And the scene in Germany is a bit weird sometimes, I'd like to say. It doesn't always mirror the worldwide or American, UK, Sweden, Australia meta. And my belief is because not many people, or not all the people in Germany, follow English language YouTube content, social media content, like The Honest Wargamer, for example. It is an English spoken show. Some people do have trouble because it's a foreign language here in Germany. So they follow German content, and there is not that much of German content. And I noticed that some people, they live in their little German language bubble for Warhammer. And so they have their idea of what is good and what is not good. And they don't know, the new cheesy shit from the US, or there's Legion of the First Prince, you can do this and this and this and put that in, and Kairos and the spell portal, because no one here has tried it yet. But it's getting better, obviously, because people branch out. Most people that are competitive do now consume English language shows and stuff. But that's a thing that I noticed in the beginnings, that you saw armies that were good, and you saw them longer, like Fire Slayers, Hearthguard Berserker blocks. They slowly faded away in other meta in tournaments in the UK, for example. They kept around longer here in Germany, or Stonehorns, like stuff like that. So that's one thing. But it's the more tournaments we have and the bigger the scene gets, more people reach out and consume other stuff, and they watch shows. So words get spread. Yeah, one-day tournaments mostly. A lot of them are concentrated where Germany is more densely populated, which is the Midwest, I'd say. So around the major towns there would be obviously Köln, near there, Gelsenkirchen, Dortmund, Duisburg, Osnabrück. So that's a whole area which has a lot of towns. If you look on the map, it's like a hub. And obviously that's also where Germany is most densely populated, so most events happen there. And it's a bit hard for us here in the south. We have a few tournaments, but for example, I often travel to Austria for a tournament because it's close. Well, it takes an hour and a half by car because it's not that far. So I compete internationally, you could say. So for a one-day event, it's not worth for me to drive 4 hours, 5 hours somewhere on a Friday afternoon to play a Saturday and then come back. That's a whole weekend to play 3 games. If it's a 2-day event, yes, I'm happy to do it. There's people organizing it. I think Frederick from Osnabrück or Herford area, who used to organize the GTC, the German Tabletop Championships, where I competed in 2020. This year it's going to be a team event the end of April. We will be attending with 2 teams because it's a 5-man team event. Personally, I cannot be there, but the boys need to perform and test before AO's Worlds. And then we have now recently from Mini Paradise in Kassel, they are organizing more and more 2-day events, even a 3-day event in September this year. The Raccoon Rumble, that's a big thing. So they're a big support in the community, namely Manuel Koch and forgot the name. You're gonna hate me. What's his Cello? Marcelo probably is his full name. Cello. They are organizing. They're pushing. They have a Facebook. They have a YouTube channel. So they're trying to bring AOS forward in Germany. So that's great on their behalf. So they're organizing obviously these events, and their club probably has the most players in terms of competitive attendance at events. I might add that since this year we have more teams attending than last year because of COVID and travel restrictions. Our goal is definitely to be middle of the field or above. I think we can, with what we learned last year and how preparation is going currently, we can definitely achieve that. So on a personal note, I like to play Australia because Alexander Kron plays for them, and I'd love to play him because he's one of the other co-hosts of Ethercast, where I also co-host. So that'd be fun to play him in Prague. I've spoken many times to him on the show, but I've never met him in person. So that's my personal goal. He's going to probably play elves because KO are not as good at the moment. So I'd love to smash his elves. His daughters probably. And on a team level, I think we'd like to play some of the teams that we played last year and lost but not by much. Because they were lovely people. We had a great time, and we want a little bit of revenge. So especially Team Denmark. I'd like to add here that was my only win, so I won against the world champion. Just one that to be noted. Against Christian. But no, lovely fellas. Obviously, you want to beat the reigning world champion, and I think we could have done it last year. We want to try again. And Italy, because they were fantastic hosts, and they beat us. Great people, and I already promised them a revenge match. Other than that, everyone who comes is fine. Everyone is great. That's the beauty why I like the event, because it's playing at a very high level, but it's very fair. Love it. There's no, you always have these matches where there's needless discussions or is this okay? I'll let it slip. No, they're very firm, and when the game starts, they tell you what's not happening, and then you have a fantastic game, and it's challenging, and that's what I like. So we already established that after more behind Ukraine, we have the best looking logo. You and the Twitch chat confirmed that. The logo I came up with, and it was realized by Lee Edwards, who in real life is a designer. So we had a professional, and it paid off to create our logo. And this is last year's jersey. We had two. We had a white one and a black one for home and away games. Don't ask me why. Everything was away. This year we're gonna stick to one. And what we noticed that people gave away their jerseys last year after the match. So they did like a shirt exchange. Sadly, we only had one each, so we always had to decline. So this is the only one I have. Otherwise, we'll need to play naked. Nobody wants to see that. So we're gonna try to get more next year for you people attending. There were some strong contenders for best dressed. There were some fantastic looking shirts last year. There were some not so good shirts, t-shirts even. But yeah, I think we can compete. Yeah, but maybe a few words about the logo itself. I know you weren't a big fan of the dice around the neck, the daddy vibes. But yeah, well, we're gonna stick with the logo. The aim was to have something easily recognizable as German. It is the coat of arms, and it's Warhammer because it has a hammer, and it says in the name what it is: AOS Worlds or AOS Team Germany. And I think we're gonna stick with black because traditionally German teams compete in black and white because those are the Prussian colors, black, white, and red from that time. So that's white. But we're gonna play a bit around, maybe something more playful. I remember, so I talked to Germany before because we interviewed him for Africast. Yeah, when he won with his all boats list. And then they didn't compete in the singles event last year, but they showed up like I think the afternoon of the second day, and they just walked through the venue to have a look. Like you saw these 6-7 people walking through, you know they were Americans. You could just tell, like, oh, they must be American. So yeah, it's not a high goal to achieve for them to know that they're Americans. But Bill was walking around with American flag socks. So there's the offender units that we all know, long strikes, dragons. But I don't think they need banning because you can play around them. Sentinels, however, are just very hard to play around. So it always gives you that feeling like no matter what I would have done, they would do what they do. So that powerlessness that you have. So ban. I mean, if you ban them, then you ban the whole book basically, because there's nothing else in that book to play with, in my opinion. Just so many foxes you can put in a list. Other than that, I mean, the Khorne Demon Prince is annoying, but he's okay. He has a place. Be'lakor has a place. Glockin, his counter charge is super annoying, but he has a place. So I mean, probably they're the only thing that stand out. I'm not sure if I would go as far as ban. In the end of the day, we're just gonna go there to have fun. There are some teams who take this very seriously, as I can tell from the captain's Discord questions and rules discussions and proxy discussions and allowances, and their secrecy about lists beforehand. So we were planning to have a training event with the Dutch team, and we invited the Czech people and the Danish people because they live close to Germany. They're less travel for them. And we said, well, we would like to share the lists that we're going to play this weekend beforehand, so we can also prepare the pairing as we would then for the event. And Denmark in particular was feeling very uncomfortable with this sharing lists beforehand. Yes, but that's fair enough. They have a title to defend. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, we want to have fun. We want to do good, compete on the level that the other teams do, but mainly we're going to go there to enjoy ourselves, because this is our free time in the end. This is money we spend. This is time we put in, and it's all just for enjoying ourselves.